On this episode of Cinema Disaster, we're going to be talking about the 2002 Don Coscarelli classic, Bubba Hotep. Now, this was your pick for this episode. So I guess, tell the people watching, why you love this film and, why you picked it.
I saw it when it first came out in 2002, and I thought it was pretty good. And I recently saw it again, and I thought it was, way better than I initially thought. And, I don't need to get into it, but, there's some things that have been going on in my life that, made me really appreciate some of the themes in the movie about getting older and death, and plus it's a fun movie.
Yeah, give him a little rundown of the plot here,
So it's Bruce Campbell plays Elvis, who years ago switched lives with a Elvis impersonator, and before he could switch back, that Elvis died.
Right.
So the real Elvis is now in a nursing home, and
he lived out the rest of his life as an Elvis impersonator.
Yes.
The only thing was that he really was Elvis.
Yeah, he really was Elvis.
So now he's old and he's in a nursing home.
Yeah. And then there's an old Egyptian mummy,
Bubba Hotep, played by Bob Ivy,
that shows up and starts eating the souls of the elderly at the nursing home.
Yeah, he finds some easy targets, and as I say in the movie, he sucks your soul out of your ass, and then he digests it, and then he shits it out. Which you said you thought it was funny that the mummy actually shits out. What did you say?
Well, it's not even that he shits; it's that he used the toilet.
Right, yeah.
He
wrote on the, as he says in the movie, he wrote on the shithouse wall.
Yeah, it's just funny to me to think about sort of a zombie-ish kind of character having the etiquette to go and use a toilet.
Well, there's another character in the film too that I want to talk about, which is Ossie Davis's character, which is this black guy who swears that he is John F. Kennedy. And his story is that after the assassination in Dealey Plaza, they patched him back up, and they dyed his skin black, and they replaced his brains with oatmeal. And then Lyndon B. Johnson dumped him at that retirement home to keep him out of the way.
Yeah.
And you never quite find out if he really is JFK or if he's a crazy old man, but there's lots of things in the film that sort of allude to the fact that maybe he really is JFK. He has that scar on the back of his head, which Elvis thinks could be the gunshot from the Zapruder film,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And it's got cameos in it. Reggie Bannister plays the rest home administrator. And, he was in all the Phantasm films. And Don Coscarelli, the guy that did this movie, also did all the Phantasm films, as well as The Beastmaster and John Dies at the End and all that stuff. And, then we have Daniel Roebuck, which you probably know from Dudes or
Matlock.
Yeah, that Matlock, The River's Edge. He's in this movie as a hearse driver.
He was in a lot of Matlock.
He was in a lot of really cool 80s films too. But yeah, that kind of sums up the movie really. It was based on a novella by Joe R. Lansdale. But what about some of the, so at its surface it is a movie about Elvis and JFK fighting the mummy in this nursing home in their old age, but there are themes in this film and topics that you said hit home with you as well as hitting home with me. What are some of those for you?
Just getting older and I'm not that old,
35,
obviously,
right?
yet, but but still, I've lost some friends recently, and my family, like my dad made a comment the other day that in 10 years he's going to be 80
Right.
or
yeah.
dead. That's what he said to me.
Always what you want to hear.
And
Always what you want to hear.
I was like, wow, like that's crazy. So I don't know, like right now, I kind of have a different look at life, I guess, and some of those themes in the movie about getting older, and what was it you read that it had the underlying themes about being elderly in a culture that does not,
like in a culture that like glorifies youth or something like
does,
that. I don't
doesn't
know.
care. Yeah, like nobody cares.
Like the youth culture rules the world, and once you get old, you're like expendable and you're kind of pushed to the side.
Yeah.
I'm 43, so I definitely think about that a lot, And as they say in the movie, where Elvis says, "Where did my youth go?" And although I get that I'm not like ancient or nothing like that, but still, at 43, I think about like how things were a lot different when I was in high school or in my 20s, even. Um, it crosses my mind quite a lot actually. It's like because time seemed to move so fast, and my dad has told me, he's 63, and he's like, a lot of people die when they're 70, between 70 and 80, and in less than 10 years he's going to be 70, and he's like, if I live that long. He always likes to add that on, if I live that long.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, that's not what I want to hear.
Right.
But yeah, so I think about death a lot too, and those, it just sucks, man. Getting old sucks. It does.
Yeah, and another little theme in it that I like is it's sort of like a redemption, because in the film Elvis is a very haunted character.
Yeah.
Haunted by his past and how he gave up his life, and he wasn't there for his kids. He wonders about Priscilla, like if would they even care if they knew he was still alive. So there was a bit of a redemption arc in there too, and I thought that was really, really awesome, because by the end, it's like he's at peace.
Yeah.
Kind of like he did good. He did something good.
Yeah, there's another line in the movie that he says that I think about a lot, is that he says in the end, when it's all over, does it all really matter? Does anything really matter? And that's something that crosses my mind like a lot of times. And I don't have the answer for that, so I don't know. But it's the fact that he says it in this film. I can relate to that thinking process. So so we have like deep, serious themes.
With
flowing underneath this
with a really ridiculous
kind of ridiculous premise of Elvis and JFK fighting a mummy, But it is a fun film, and it looks great. And you talked about the music; you love the music.
I do. What
the guy's name is? I got it written down here because I forgot. Brian Tyler.
Brian Tyler, yeah, and I'm not super familiar with that guy, but
I just know he's done a lot of other movies.
He has. The ones you were reading off to me, I was surprised. I didn't know any of that, but the score for Bubba Hotep is like, it's perfect for what the film is. It's got like this southern and rock and roll feel, which to me that might be a different video, but that's different than southern rock.
Right. Yeah.
It is. It's like it sounds very much like an Elvis thing, like southern rock and roll.
And the movie takes place in Texas, so it's fitting.
Yeah, and I mean Elvis was a southern boy as well,
yeah.
Not from Texas, but still.
Hence the word Bubba.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's a play on the old mummy movie. The mummy's name was Imhotep, but in this it's Bubba Hotep. I guess since they're from the South or whatnot.
Yeah, Bubba.
And another thing that I wanted to talk about was at the end of this film, you know, what they talk about, they tease the idea of there being a prequel called Bubba Nosferatu, and it was supposed to take place um, during like the time when he was young and doing all
Filming.
the Elvis films, yeah.
Filming.
And he was gonna run across like a horde of like female vampires,
Yeah.
and I know like what's his name? Paul Giamatti was attached to the project, and Bruce Campbell. But originally it was meant as a joke. Like Don Coscarelli had no intention of making a sequel, but after the success of Bubba Hotep, he changed his mind. And in 2007, Bruce Campbell left the project, and then in 2008, Ron Perlman from like Beauty and the Beast and Hellboy,
and a bunch of stuff.
He took over to become Elvis, and then it went through like this. Like I think Coscarelli said that he couldn't raise the money for it. It's stuck in development hell, and so it's still uncertain whether or not that film will ever get made. But he did end up doing a movie called John Dies at the End, which was like a really big success as well.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
We want to talk about the comics too, which I didn't even know about this till I researched it.
Yeah,
so,
for the first time, you know more about this than I do, so go ahead.
So, and I mean, I really don't know much than what I researched, but supposedly in 2018, there was like a 5-issue limited edition Bubba Hotep and the Cosmic Suckers comic book release. And then in 2019, there was like this 4 issues of a crossover comic with Army of Darkness and Bubba Hotep. And it's where Elvis and Ash team up to, you know, to fight stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them. I've never read them. I don't know.
I want to look into that. That would be cool.
You know,
or it might be cool.
Said you also wanted to buy the soundtrack to this movie.
Yeah, well, because I really like the music in it.
Yeah. But I went and saw this. Where did you say you saw it for the first time?
I don't even remember. I don't think I went to a theater. I think I had to wait. I probably watched it at a friend's house. And those friends all thought it sucked. Like, they thought it was stupid. And I thought it was pretty good. And like I said earlier, I have not seen it since 2002. Watching it again now at, you know, the phase or whatever I'm in now, I liked it a lot more than I did then. But I always wondered, like, the friends of mine that thought it sucked, I was like, what did you expect? Like, it's not hiding anything.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's a B movie.
It presents itself exactly as what it is.
Right. It's not like, come on now.
I remember I went and saw it. It played at the Tivoli in St. Louis because originally Don Coscarelli had it kind of go around the country and play like these like small theaters and stuff, and it kind of built an audience as it went along. It built a cult audience, and I saw it. I think it was 2003. It came to St. Louis, and I remember I bought a T-shirt, and I remember being like very impressed by it. And yeah, I like the whole fact that they kind of intertwine like the JFK conspiracy into this with like Elvis like lore, or like the Elvis stuff. Because I'm a big Elvis fan, so, and I'm also very interested in like you know, the JFK stuff and all the stories that kind of circulate around that, you know.
Yeah.
I bought this the day it came out. I remember. This is the DVD, and it's one of those that has the paper sleeve that you really like. Why is it there?
I think I like them,
and then
I think they're nice.
Yeah, this comes with like a pretty cool booklet, and it's got a pretty cool little like featurette on it too, where it talks about like the making of this film, and I found that to be very interesting. But yeah, this is a great film, and you should definitely check it out. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it, but
no, I think it's underrated.
Definitely underrated.
And I think it's like, yeah, what you said. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it and it's been some time, watch it again.
You'll grow into it. You'll grow into the theme.
Like I said, for me, it surprised me, like how much dialogue in it didn't really mean anything to me in 2002, and now in 2019, it does. You know, it kind of moved me.
If you're a fan of Coscarelli's movies like Phantasm or John Dies at the End, Beastmaster, if you're a fan of Ossie Davis or Elvis
Bruce
Presley,
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, JFK, if you're interested in the whole JFK conspiracy, or I mean, shit, just like movies, horror films, it's like a horror comedy. You know, if you're into any of that stuff, it's kind of got something for everybody.
Yeah.
So, check out Bubba Hotep. And until next time, keep watching.